Carthage, 149 BCE. The sun hung like a bleeding eye above the bay of Carthage, spilling crimson light over the sea, as if it too foresaw the ruin to come. Towering walls, older than the Roman Republic, rose like silent sentinels, casting long shadows over a city that once ruled the waves. Inside the marble halls of the Carthaginian Senate, torches flickered as elder voices echoed with defiance and fear. "They demand we tear down our walls," spat one. "Then let them choke beneath those walls," answered another. Rome had spoken. Their ultimatum was clear: surrender the city or face obliteration. But Carthage, though battered by past wars, had not forgotten how to bleed, and how to make others bleed in turn. Blacksmiths melted temple gold to forge new blades. Leather was boiled for makeshift shields. Priests blessed arrowheads, children gathered stones. The soul of Carthage did not kneel. It rose, desperate and burning. Rome, the Senate. Far across the sea, in the Curia Hostilia, the Roman Senate stirred restlessly. Carthage's refusal enraged them, but fear flickered behind their pride. The name Hannibal still haunted their corridors. Memories of elephants in the Alps and fields drenched in Roman blood remained wounds that never fully closed. Rome needed a symbol, a sword, a shadow of Scipio Africanus reborn, and so they summoned Publius Cornelius Scipio Aemilianus, adopted grandson of the man who broke Hannibal at Zama. He was young, untested by Senate standards, but in his eyes burned the memory of a city that once threatened Rome's very soul. "I was taught Carthage was vanquished," he told them, "but fire not extinguished rises again. I will smother it beneath stone." Though some senators hesitated, none could deny the tide. Rome no longer gambled, it forged destiny. The siege begins, 149 BCE. The Roman fleet arrived like thunder on the sea, black sails blotting the horizon. Two consuls, Mancinus and Censorinus, led the assault, their legions encircling Carthage by land and sea. But the city refused to break. Carthaginian archers lined the walls, raining arrows and flaming oil. Night raids set Roman supply ships ablaze. Carthaginian ships, sleek and defiant, cut through the blockade under moonlight. Every citizen became a soldier. Women worked as armorers, boys carried bolts, and old men died with blades in their hands. "They are not a city," Mancinus muttered. "They are a curse." Inside Rome, whispers grew. Carthage cannot fall. Then the Senate turned to Scipio. The Scipio arrives, 147 BCE. When Scipio Aemilianus landed at Utica, he found a broken army, morale shattered, camps disorderly, discipline lost. He did not speak to inspire, he acted to control. Soldiers who abandoned posts were crucified. Commanders who hesitated were replaced. He ordered tents torn down and re-erected in perfect rows. Drills resumed before dawn. Wine rations were cut. Armor polished, every man made ready. "This is no longer a siege," Scipio declared. "It is an execution." Then came his true genius. He ordered a causeway built across the harbor mouth, cutting Carthage off from the sea. Under his orders, siege towers plated with iron rolled forward. Ballistae hurled stones the size of men. Roman engineers clawed at the city's foundations day and night. The walls groaned like ancient gods awakened from sleep, and Carthage, though defiant, began to crack. Spring 146 BCE, the breach. It began with a thunderclap. Roman rams broke through the southern wall. Legions stormed the breach like a tide of iron. But Carthage did not surrender. Street by street, doorway by doorway, the defenders fought. Citizens threw boiling water from rooftops. Spears stabbed from alleys. Even children lunged at legionaries with knives. Scipio advanced slowly, methodically, allowing no looting, no rest, no pause. "We are not invaders," he said. "We are judgment." Temples were set aflame. Markets ran red with blood. The great libraries of Carthage, repositories of centuries of Punic wisdom, were consumed in fire. And as the flames climbed into the sky, Scipio stood before the breach and whispered, "Let no stone stand to remember them, only ash." The Bursa Citadel, last breath of Carthage. For 6 days and nights, the fires did not die. The Roman legions pressed deeper into the corpse of the city, but Carthage fought with the fury of the damned. Streets became trenches, roofs became strongholds. Every doorway hid a dagger, every shadow held defiance. At the heart of the city, on the Bursa Hill, the last defenders gathered. their backs to the temple of Eshmun, their faces to death. Among them stood Hasdrubal, the final general of Carthage. Once proud and unyielding, now worn by starvation and grief. Yet still he led, still he stood. "We are not here to win," he told his men. "We are here to remind the world who we were." The Romans encircled the citadel. Scipio gave no command to halt, no call for surrender. Only the sound of drums and iron echoed in the air. The fall of Hasdrubal. In the final hour, as Roman fire reached the temple gates, Hasdrubal broke. He emerged alone, leading his wife and sons, and knelt before Scipio in the dust of a dying empire. "Spare us," he begged. "Let my children live, that Carthage may live in memory." Scipio watched him without a word. At length he nodded. The general of Carthage would live. But not with his soul. She saw her husband bow, saw him beg, and she broke, not with fear but fury. "You saved yourself," she screamed, "but I will save our name." With one last cry, she clutched her sons and leapt into the fire. Even the legionaries faltered. Even Scipio looked away. Ashes and salt, the city burned for 17 days. Smoke blotted the sun. Ash fell like black snow upon the Mediterranean. 50,000 survivors, mostly women, children, and the broken, were herded in chains, sold to the furthest corners of the empire. The wells were poisoned, the fields salted, the walls torn down stone by stone. Carthage ceased to exist. Rome sent a single message to Scipio: "Well done." He stood alone above the ruins, silent, his cloak stained with ash. A fear that someday someone will speak of Rome, as I now speak of Carthage. Return to Rome, glory without joy. Scipio Aemilianus returned not as a man, but as a monument. Behind him marched treasure, relics, and the silent, shamed figure of Hasdrubal in chains. Rome cheered. The forum rang with celebration. The Senate offered Scipio the crown of laurel, the title Africanus the Younger, the immortality of marble and song. He refused them all. "We did not conquer a city," he told them. "We silenced a civilization." In his triumphal speech there was no joy, only warning. Power without restraint becomes hunger. Hunger without purpose becomes ruin. The people listened, but they did not understand. Legacy, shadows of fire. Carthage was gone. Macedon had fallen. The Greek leagues bowed. Egypt trembled. Rome stood alone. But in the heart of every Roman, something had changed. Scipio's war was not just a conquest. It was a lesson written in fire. From its ashes rose new men, future generals who would cross rivers and empires, future emperors who would speak not of Senate, but of dominion. The sons of war had fulfilled their purpose, but what rose now were shadows. Shadows that would one day burn even brighter than Carthage ever had. And from those shadows, Rome would never again be the same. To be continued in Episode 4, Blood and Sand, the Rise of Spartacus. If Carthage taught Rome how to destroy, the next tale will test whether it can endure the fire from within. Subscribe to witness the greatest rebellion in Roman history and the man who dared to shatter chains.